First, we're going to start by adding our angle braces that are in the bottom left bay. For this, we need to set up some construction lines. When we are adding our vertical braces, our work points are going to be at the half nominal depth of our beams, and then the center lines are going to be to the center of the columns. So we need to set up a construction line at that half nominal depth, which of an 18-inch beam is going to be 9 inches down. For this, let's do construction line add. And then for our snap, we need to make sure we select base member line. Now we can select the W18/40 and go down 9 inches. So I can either type in 9 here and go add minus, or -9 and enter. Either way, go ahead and hit the exit button. And then I can switch to my different snap, and I'm going to use the intersection of construction line to add in some more points. So I'll go intersection of construction line. We're going to go from this intersection where that 9 inches down is at A down to B and our base plate or our AB plan. So for this, I'm going to select my other snap to be my intersection of construction line, so that way we don't happen to grab the wrong point. So I'll zoom in and select that. And then we're going to do the same going the opposite direction to create the X. So I'll go from this point down. Now I can zoom in to confirm that went to the correct location. Next, we could go in and add in our next one, and I'm going to change to my base construction line. And for this one, I'm just going to go off of this construction line at B, and I'm going to go over 12'6" and hit add. We could go in and add in construction lines at an angle, but because these are just intersecting at that point, we don't need that. Hit exit, and then the same off of grid line C. We go 12.6 or 12'6" and add. Now we do also need to add one from there 6 foot over, so I'll select that construction line again and just go 6'0". And then we'll go ahead and add in our last one from our roof framing plan down 9 inches. So again, I'll go -9 and hit enter. And now we have all of our construction lines in here. When we are adding our angle braces, so like our cross bracing down in that lower left-hand bay, these are going to be 3 separate vertical braces. Let's go to our members page. And then inside of here, we're going to select vertical brace. Going to start by setting our section size. So in this case, it's an L 6x4 by 3/8. And then we can specify the side of gusset, whether that's near side or far side. And we should have our long leg if that's outstanding or to the gusset. We have double material, which in this case we will use because it does say 2 L6x4 by 3/8. And then inside of here, we can now see our configuration. So if I drop that down, we have an option for back-to-back. We have a star configuration. We have far side, or we have configuration near side. We have the option to specify the angle leg. Do we want that turned up or down? And then we can go in and specify our left end connection, the right end connection, and then snap in the elevations as well as the infinite add, or we can have it open up that member edit. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and select from our intersection of construction line here down. And then we'll go from this intersection, and we can't go all the way through, otherwise those members will clash. So for this, we need to just select our next point here at the intersection, and then from this point up. Next, we can change our section size, so we can go W8 by 31. And then inside of here, we do have our web orientation. Do we want that web vertical or web horizontal? I'm just going to leave mine set at vertical. And then again, the connections. But in this case, I don't need to change anything, so I'm just going to go from the bottom to that 12'6", and then from the 12'6" down to the bottom again. As you can see, it created that connection. And then we're going to go with the HSS 6x4 by quarter. For this, I will type in HSS 6x4 by 1/4. We're going to go from C in our AB plan to our upper point here at that 9-inch down. And then we'll go from that 9-inch down point to the bottom of our base plate. Again, we can see it created that combined plate. Next, we'll take a look at our WT 4x9. So next we'll type in our WT 7x11. So we'll type in our section size WT 7x11. And as soon as I tab out, we can see we now have our side of gusset, if it's near side or far side. And then our stem orientation. If we take a look, it does call that out is stem down. So we'll drop that down and we'll go vertical. And once I tab out of that, we can now see this update stem direction we have down or up. In this case, it is called out stem down. So we're just going to go ahead and add in our points here. So we'll select from the bottom at that 9 inches down. So even though this is framing to the top of a beam, we still go down that 9 inches. And then we go to that 9 inches down at the top here and at the center line of the column. Now, I did not have you add in the last 6-foot construction line, so we can do this one of two ways. We can either cancel out of the command, or what I'm going to have you do is we're going to add in a different way. So let's first set our section size, so WT 4x9. Our stem orientation is not down or up, so we're going to assume that's horizontal. And then we can select our first point here. And then for our second point, what we're going to do is we're going to use our XYZ offsets here at the top. And for our Z, I'm going to go -6'0". And we can see that's from the top of our roof framing plan. So in this case, I just need to make sure I select the correct construction lines. And we can see, even though I'm hovering here, we can see the actual point locator is down here, 6 foot. So I'll go ahead and locate that. And we can see it's added that in there. Now before I end this command, we want to make sure we clear out our XYZ offsets, otherwise that will be remembered for our next command. We can go ahead and right click and end our command there. Next, we're going to take a look at our bracing on grid line D. So let's go ahead and open grid line D by going to our layout tab. Hit open view, and then we're going to double click on grid line D or single select and say OK. Looking at the brace line D, we can see from 3 to 2.1 is where we will be adding these pipes for our vertical braces. Now this view is starting to get crowded or overlooked with some different text and stuff. Maybe I want to clean this up a little bit. At this point, what I'm going to do is let's go to our display. And then inside of the display section, we're going to go into our display options. And we can turn off things in here, such as our construction lines. Maybe we didn't want to see any of those. We have the option to turn off construction circles, our different grid lines. If we want to show the grid bubbles, we can scale the grid bubbles. Do we want to show the center of the curved grids? Do we want to show exploded positions? Show all grid intersections? We have the option to turn off members, member lines, piece marks. So maybe I don't want to see my piece marks. We have the option to turn off member numbers. Maybe I don't want to see those. And then our member section size. I'm also going to turn that off. We can turn off an ABM ID. We have the option to turn on or off our member end elevations, our camber annotation, our member custom properties, The member orientation indicators, moment symbols, member ends always displayed. Our shear tabs, we can display the solids as edged. We can show the joist outline and the stair outline. We can specify our text scale or actual scale of our view, which will affect how our details come out. We can show holes, bolts, welds, voids, layouts, rebar, cover surfaces, cranes, crane placements, notes, drawing overlay, terrain, rulers, scroll bars, model dimensions, tile decorations. Once we have these all set, let's say OK. And now we can see that is much cleaner. So let's go ahead and set up some construction lines. For this, we'll go back to our Layout tab, go back to our Layout page. We're going to go ahead and select Construction Line Add. And it remembered our base construction line, so we can go from our grid line roof framing plan, we can go down 9 inches, so I can hit Add, as that was remembered. Go and hit Exit, and then from second floor, I can go -7. Hit Add. We got those construction lines in here. And now we can also see it is going from that 9 inches down to the bottom of our base plate at 2.1. So we're going to use our intersection of construction lines to select that first point, and then down to 2.1 and our AB plan. Now that we have this in here, we can go ahead and add in our vertical braces. So we'll go to our members section. We'll go to our vertical brace add. We're going to set this as pipe 5 standard. And then we're going to go from this intersection at 3 and our roof framing plan down 9 inches to the intersection of that 7 inches down from our second floor. And then we'll just go from that same point down to the bottom of our base plate in the center of the column at 2.1. You can go ahead and escape or right click and turn those to solid, and we can see that we have our members in here now.